but can you play the sound of Deion Sanders? This is on Rich Eisen's show. What's wrong, Jessica? I mean, you're just disgusted by all of it, right? It's unnecessary,
He gave me
all
a
of
look
it.
like, oh, you're grossed out? Like, oh, you're stupid. So I gave him that look back.
What?
That was
Stupid?
what that look was.
No. Gone too far.
Play Deion Sanders talking to Rich Eisen on how you prototype, how he figures out who to draft or who to recruit at what position.
Quarterbacks are different.
Yeah.
We want mother, father, dual parent.
Mm-hmm.
We want that kid to be 3, 5, and up because he's got to be smart. Not bad decisions off the field at all because he has to be a leader of men. It's so many different attributes in what we look for. Physical, offensive line. My defensive line is totally opposite.
What do you mean?
Single mama. Trying to get it. He's on free lunch. I'm talking about just trying to make it. He trying to rescue mama. Like mama barely made the flight.
He's talking about hunger, how you measure hunger. He's doing some stereotyping by position. I've often heard the offensive lineman, the guy that you want at offensive line is the guy who can repair the refrigerator. The guy you want on defensive line is the guy who could either destroy it or eat it. That this is something that is said through football channels. But
William Perry.
But now he is talking. Thank you, Stugotz. Now he's talking about what kind of patterning or upbringing a kid has. And that from there, you're not far from Jeff Ireland feeling comfortable asking Des Bryant whether his mother's a prostitute or not.
Here's my favorite part. If there was an amazing quarterback prospect who came from a single-parent household, Deion's not saying, no, not for me. You better come back when mom and dad get back together.
Or at a 3-4.
Right? Like that's the beauty of any sort of these heuristics, right? Is that you can say all that until someone comes and fits all the criteria that actually matters. Can he play? And is he serious about this shit? That's what matters. Single parent, double parent, none of that matters. None of that matters. I remember one time I tried to do like a study. Like I said, every great player or almost all the great players in NBA history all had siblings. Why? What does that mean? Right? LeBron is outlier in that he's like an only child, and that doesn't happen. Great players who are only children almost never happens. You think of just name players right now. Name them. Steph Curry has siblings. Kobe had siblings. Shaq has siblings, right? Jordan had siblings. Magic had siblings. Like Bird, siblings. Like the only child thing does not exist in our sport. What does that mean? And then I realized it doesn't matter. It's not because they had siblings, it's because they could play.
You were trying to measure it, though? You thought the only child might be more selfish?
I don't know. It was just something I realized. Like, wait a second. Why is it all the great players have siblings? We're all the great only children.
Well, isn't it statistically more likely to have siblings than not in this country?
Sure, but it's way, like that number is skewed in the NBA, right? Where it's even greater.
Is LeBron the only child in the NBA?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I mean, how many? I'm curious. I wouldn't go down this rabbit hole with you.
But
how many only children are there?
I don't.
We got to figure this out.
I don't know what the number
I
is.
wish none of us had ever seen this rabbit, and none of us had seen this hole, and none of us had been dragged into it.
Don't diminish the point. The point isn't only children or not only children. The point is when you start looking for ridiculous tangential things to explain the actual thing that we all know. He can play, and he's serious about this shit. That's all that matters. Hand size, vertical, siblings, only child, single parent, double. All of that is meaningless.
Grant Hill credits his Hall of Fame NBA career to growing up as an only child.
There you go. All right, that's 2.
Jessica would like to know them all.
I would, honestly. I'm very curious now. But I think the thing Deion's saying is more damaging than that because it's like perpetuating stereotypes about children that come from single-parent homes. And it's weird to hear Rich Eisen's producers all laughing along with it and like thinking it's really funny because to me it's just kind of gross. Like I didn't enjoy listening to that at all.
It's too simplistic, and it doesn't end up mattering, no matter how much Deion thinks he knows about the psychology of football. He's getting players who can really play. Guys who, by any of the measurements, anybody who was coaching anybody would take all of them, no matter what they're coming from.
And also sort of like, to Jess's point, it just sort of like, okay, so if I'm a quarterback, I got to change position because my upbringing is the reason why I can't play this position. It's just, it's ridiculous. And honestly, out of the mouth of any other coach, it would be met with a lot more skepticism.
And be honest about it. If it came out of the mouth of a white coach, it would be treated as racist. It would be treated as questionable beyond what it is that we're talking about.
Kareem, only child.
3.
I don't want to do this the rest of the show.
Why?
I think it's fun.
It's not a great rabbit hole. Only children, and at the end of it, we've counted only children, and it doesn't mean anything according to a meme to know who the only children are.
Exactly. So it's a worthless exercise. Is there, okay, not saying that it's appropriate, but is there any room for he was kidding?
I don't think he was he? It seemed like
he had a big smile on his face when he said it. Like I saw the video. I didn't just hear the audio.
That's why I always say just kidding after I'm kidding.
That's why I
No
don't.
room for interpretation.
Or sarcasm.
If he was kidding, he should have just been like, just kidding.
I don't doubt that there's a kernel of truth in that he actually believes that. But I also think him saying it and everyone laughing along is because he said it in a very jovial, joking way. And not like as an actual
or
policy.
It could just be I've been given permission to laugh by somebody.
I think the reason people think he's not kidding is because this is probably what older generations of head coaches and probably some current ones still believe about these types of players and their families. So that's why maybe you give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe you don't though. Like there's certainly harmful stereotypes that head coaches perpetuate constantly in the sport.
Sure.
So I don't know if he said just kidding, I'd be like, oh, okay.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think he believes it, but also he said it in a very exaggerated way to make light of it.
But was it passed
no
along?
No one has suggested he's kidding other than you.
Sounds like a Bowden thing.
Play it again. Listen to the tone of his voice again.
Quarterbacks are different.
Yeah.
We want mother, father, dual parent.
Mm-hmm.
We want that kid to be 3, 5, and up because he's got to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad decisions off the field at all because he has to be a leader of men. It's so many different attributes and what we look for. Physical, offensive line. My defensive line is totally opposite.
What do you mean?
Single mama. Trying to get it. He's on free lunch. I'm talking about just trying to make it. He trying to rescue mama. Like mama barely made the flight.
So, first of all, you could tell the inflection in his voice. The defensive line. Oh, hold on now.
But if what he said about quarterbacks is still what he actually believes, that's also.
But again, my point comes back to this. You think if the number one quarterback in the nation came from a single parent household and said, "I'd love to play in Colorado for Coach Deion," Deion's like, "No, not for me." You think he's saying no? Right? Like that's where all of these rule of thumbs fly out the window.